Hi, it's Dan with EUJuicers.com, coming to you as always from the heart of Europe. And I've got my wife, Krista, back with us today, wife and herbalist. And what are you going to show us today? What is the herb of the day? I see something sitting over here.
The herb of the day today is yarrow, and we're going to be making some things with this that will help you in healing and in sickness.
And what are the things?
We're going to make some tea that you should have with you whenever you're thinking you're getting a cold or if you have a fever. And we're also going to make some powder that you could put on any kind of open wound.
That's this stuff, right?
This is it.
I remember this. I actually have a story, and it's about this table. This table's huge. It's heavy. We had it ordered custom for this studio, and it was too big to get through the door, so we had to take it apart. Only it wasn't screwed together. It was held by glued wooden dowels. So while everyone was gone, I thought I'd be a hero, and I had a knife, and I was trying to cut the dowels out. And like an idiot, I cut towards myself, the first rule of what not to do, and I cut my hand wide open. We didn't have any bandages here. I held it under the sink for a while. That wasn't helping. And then I remembered Krista had sent me with some yarrow powder in my first aid kit. So I sprinkled some in, and it actually stopped the bleeding immediately, and I had no infection. It healed really fast, so it was pretty cool. What else do you make with yarrow? I see you have a few other things here.
I make a tea for respiratory distress or decongestant. I make an allergy tea for during allergy season. I make a cream for varicose veins. I also use it under my eyes. It helps with puffiness. I make a tincture for urinary tract infections and also just a normal yarrow tincture for any kind of wound healing and fevers.
And would I just put this straight in onto a wound, apply it direct?
You can put it directly onto a wound, or you can take it internally for reducing fevers.
All right, so I'm going to get out of the way, let you watch Krista. She'll show you how these things are made, and I'll see you at the end.
Yarrow is one of my favorite herbs. It's really useful. It's been used on battlefields for thousands of years for first aid. It's one of our first aid go-tos. Its Latin name is Achille millefolium. It's named after the Greek hero Achilles because, according to the myth, this is the herb he was dipped in that kept him protected and impervious to being wounded. It's found in North America, in Europe, anywhere where there's sunlight and meadows. You can go and pick it around spring, late spring, early summer. It has small white flowers, although they could be pink or red, according to the cultivar. And it has long, really lacy, leafy leaves. Some of yarrow's most medicinal constituents are its anti-inflammatory properties, its styptic, which means it stops bleeding, it's vulnerary, it's wound healing, it's antimicrobial, antiseptic, diaphoretic, meaning it helps you to sweat, which is why it's really great at reducing fevers because it helps sweat the fever out. And it's astringent. It pulls in tissue and tightens tissues and helps close and stop bleeding. It closes wounds and stops bleeding. So we're going to make our first thing with yarrow today, which is our yarrow powder. And this is what we go to immediately whenever we get cut. Whether you cut yourself shaving or you cut yourself with knives because you've never seen a knife before, Dan. And we're going to use the yarrow that we've dried in our dehydrator. You can dry it anywhere. You can hang it in your house. You can put it outside in the sunlight. I prefer the efficiency of a dehydrator. So I'm going to get it out of the dehydrator now. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the yarrow out of the dehydrator and cut it into smaller sections so that it will be easier to put into the grain mill. Now you could use a mortar and pestle, as I have here, but I find it more efficient and you get a better quality and texture to your powder if you use a grain mill. So I'll go ahead and cut it with scissors. You could use a knife, but again, I go for efficiency. And I'm going to cut it with scissors into this bowl. And also send most of it flying across the room. Okay, so now we're ready to put this into the grain mill. So I'll go ahead and turn my grain mill on. And and I'll feed it into the top. This yarrow we happen to pick by our house, and we've found this just everywhere. Okay, so we're finished milling our yarrow, and now we're ready for any kind of wound that we might have. So, let's say you cut yourself. This is so amazing because it not only stops the bleeding, but it cleans any wound and prevents infection. And if you don't have bandages at your house or where you are in the woods or wherever, it will form like a crust on top of the wound and just seal it in until you're able to get a bandage on it. So you just pull some out of your jar and put it right onto your wound, as such. So, in order to make this, you need to grab some yarrow from wherever you can find it, dry it, be it in a dehydrator or out in the sun, grind it using a mortar and pestle or a grain mill, and then you have your first aid kit in a jar. So now we're going to make my family's favorite tea using yarrow. This tea is excellent if you feel like you have got a cold or flu coming on, or if you have a fever. So let me tell you what the ingredients will be. First, we'll be using elderflower. Now, normally I pick my elderflower, but we used so much of it this season that I had to actually buy some for this video. We're using elderflower, which has antiviral components, and it cuts the duration of the cold or flu. We're using mint, which is a fever reducer, a diaphoretic, and a pain reliever. So if you're having a fever and you have those aches and pains, this will really help. It also improves the flavor of the tea along with the elderflower. We're going to be using yarrow again. And the yarrow here is very powerful as a diaphoretic, helping to reduce the fever, and as anti-inflammatory, antiviral for your cold and flu. So we've got some of this mint that I've just picked today, and I've got everything also in the dehydrator, so you can see how it looks coming out of the dehydrator. So this is the mint from my garden today, and then the mint that has been dehydrated for a couple of days, and the yarrow again that's been dehydrated. So we're going to run these through the 707, and you'll be using today the blank screen, which will allow this to just be processed into small chunks that will be useful for the tea. Okay, so let's start processing the herbs. Okay, so now we've got the yarrow done, and I'm going to put it into this bowl because we need to get the right ratio for the tea. So I'm going to do the mint now. So we finished our mint, and now I'm ready to make our tea. Put this into the bowl here. And show you again what will be in the tea. We've got the yarrow, which we've been talking about today, which is anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic for coughing. It's a diaphoretic for relieving fevers. And it's antiviral. Elderflower, which is antiviral, cuts down the duration of your cold. It is an immune booster, so it boosts your immune system. It also lends a really great flavor to the tea. And mint, which is a pain reliever, it's good for your respiratory system, and again adds a good flavor to the tea. So our ratio for our tea today is 3 parts mint, 3 parts elderflower, and 1 part yarrow. So we're going to go ahead and put that together. Now, it's not too scientific. I just do 1 part yarrow, and we'll do 3 parts of the elderflower, okay, so now we'll add our 3 parts mint. The texture is perfect for tea. This juicer does an excellent job of making the texture great. Okay, I'll just actually go ahead and add all the rest of it. Okay, so now we have our fever buster tea. Give it a good shake. Incorporate all the herbs together. And fill up a tea bag. And then you're ready to have your tea. So you're going to put 3 teaspoons or 1 tablespoon of herb into your tea bag. And I really encourage you to let it steep in the boiling water for 15 minutes at least. Best is a half an hour to get all of the constituents of the plants into the tea. It's best also to cover the tea with a plate or a bowl while it's steeping. Otherwise, all the important volatile oils will escape into the steam. And I encourage you to enjoy this tea, and I hope that it brings you much health during cold and flu season.
So this stuff smells really good. I had to come in and try it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we're going to enjoy this tea. See you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And it has really, really leafy, long leaves. But you can find it anywhere.
Sorry.
Okay, so let's start processing the herbs.
So I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment below if you want to see more of Krista. And let's start again.
You
want to see more of
Krista?
She will strip. That's probably being filmed next. Oh, good.
Oh, too bad.
So I'm back. I smelled this stuff. It smells really good with the mint. Is that what's doing it there?
Yeah, the mint is doing it.
Okay, one more time.